Your Excellency, finally, I would like to invite you to lay your wreath, and I would like to request all of us to stand up as His Excellency the President lays his wreath. Kitalo nnyo, Your Excellency.
I had seen Muhakanizi not long ago. Before he went for this treatment, he came and we had a long meeting in Entebbe. I don't remember exactly but not very long ago. Therefore, it was a shock when the other Friday, I was in Isozi, and the Prime Minister rang me saying that Muhakanizi had died. I was really surprised. I was aware that he had been undergoing treatment for cancer in Turkey. And when I met him, actually, I thought he was going back to Turkey or something. I didn't know he was going to Italy. And he was very, very optimistic that the cancer had gone. But life is like that. We shall all die. So he has done his part. And it's now we and you who are here to continue. So therefore I'm here to give some witness to the contribution of Muhakanizi. I would describe our dealings, my dealings with the Muhakanizi group as a convergence of two forces, if you like. Muhakanizi, Tumsime Mtebire, Kasami. The wife was mentioning some other people whom I don't know myself. When we came from the bush, we found them here in the system, in the Ministry of Finance. There were two ministries that time. There was the Ministry of Planning and Economic Development and the Ministry of Finance. They were separate. Actually, they are the ones who advised me to merge them. It was part of their advice. Now, those young economists belonged to the thinking of the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank. They really believed in the analysis and the strategy of the IMF and the World Bank. We, from the bush, yes, we were aware of what they were talking about, but we had a deeper target than what they were talking about. However, our partnership has been quite helpful to the country. English language is poor. They don't have enough words. I don't know why the Banyankore have slightly more words than the English. So there are 3 words. One is okomora. Okomora is when somebody is injured and bleeding. In order to deal with the wound, it is very crucial that you okomora. You stop the bleeding. But the Banyankore have another word called okujenga. Okujenga is what you would call in your English surgery, to do surgery. And then the other word, which applies to the Muhakanizi group, is okwegama. Okwegama. Okwegama, to stand by the side and you let things happen. Now, the therapy of this group of our friends whom we found here, Mutevire, Kasami, Muhakanizi, there is this new governor, deputy governor of the Bank of Uganda. He's in that group. He's also Omomozi, Okomora, and the others whom Janet was talking about, whom I don't know. Their therapy was as follows. Number 1, control inflation. Because if you don't control inflation, the economy will not stabilize, the economic actors will not have a predictable environment. And how do you control inflation? First of all, you control the supply of money, but secondly, you also have strict budgeting. Don't spend the money you don't have. Now, number 2, allow the market forces to determine the price of commodities, including the exchange rate. Because before we came, they had the practice of the Bank of Uganda allocating money, foreign exchange money, fixing the exchange rate, saying that the exchange rate is so much, when in fact on the black market it was much more. So they strongly advised, and after listening carefully to them, I was persuaded by their advice that let the shilling find its level. Let it float until it finds its level. And so should all the other prices. Let all the prices be controlled by the market. And then the kwegama I was talking about, in your English language you would call it liberalization. Let the state not be so much involved in running the economy. Let it stand aside a bit and let the private sector do much of the work. So I was persuaded by of course there were other people who were thinking differently, like Dr. Suruma, people like Dr. Nahamia and others who had different ideas. But when I listened to them, I thought what they were saying was useful, was useful, but not enough. And this is where we had some sort of tug of war. Now, on our side from the bush, ours was okujenga. Okay, you can have the Komora, you can have they call it macroeconomic stabilization, but you must do the surgery so that the economy becomes a new economy. And what they had proposed, and we had accepted and they had implemented, helped us to do our kujenga, our surgery, our structural changes. Now, these were what? Number one, because what they were proposing, what they recommended to us and what we accepted, quickly resulted into what we call minimum economic recovery, i.e., stop magendo, stop what they were calling okusamula, speculation, stop the kibanda, the foreign currency black market. Those really stopped, mainly because of their medicine, the medicine of the Muhakanizi and MUSEVENI, the IMF approach. Those distortions stopped, because why you go to Chibanda if the dollar is determined by the market? Because what was encouraging in Chibanda, the foreign currency speculation was, I would buy dollars cheap. No, I would get the officials, those who had access to dollars. They would go to dollars cheap from the Bank of Uganda and go and sell them on the Chibanda. But if you say now, no, the price of the dollar will be determined by the market, then the Chibanda becomes irrelevant. And the smuggling incentive also goes away. So therefore, the minimum recovery was really achieved by that. But now, there was the issue of the expansion of the economy. I don't have time, I don't want to transform a funeral into a lecture, but we had to do the expansion, do the diversification, and now new economy, the new economy of science, for instance. And that's what we were insisting on. Now, because they are still there, like the President Bank of Uganda manager, he's part of that group. And recently I wrote him a long letter along those lines. They should also look at our surgery. For instance, the new sectors which we brought into the economy by mobilization. You know what they did not realize? This IMF group, they were talking of the private sector-led growth. Then I would ask MUSEVENI, and I asked Muhakanizi and Kasami, is Amos Kaguta part of the private sector? Because Amos Kaguta was not part of the private sector. Amos Kaguta was part of the traditional sector, a cattle keeper. He was not part of the money economy. These instruments of controlling inflation, the prices and all that, they work on people who are already aware of the money economy. But the problem we had was that until 2013, the people who were in the money economy were only 32% of the economy of Uganda, or of the society of Uganda. 68% were outside the money economy. So this 68% needed mobilization, sensitization, not simply macroeconomic tools. And you remember what we did when we involved the army to take the seedling, Operation Wealth Creation, take the seedlings, these people, mobilize them. And you Ugandans, those who are old enough, you know that this coffee robusta is called Kiboko. It is called Kiboko because the British introduced it by caning people by force. So therefore, when you are dealing with a traditional economy, it's good that you combine these instruments of the IMF and the World Bank, which is what these young people were using, with other instruments. The British used the Kiboko, force. For us, we had to use mobilization. Now, because of that, some of the new sectors have come up. Like we used to have cash crops, which were only coffee, cotton, and so on. But now we have got bananas are a cash crop. Maize is a cash crop. And we were helped by, I was helped by Vicky Secretary, the one who was Minister of Agriculture. Milk is a very big cash crop. I am the one who pushed it. And Muhakanizi appreciated. Later on, he was able to see that, oh, yeah, this one here, you are right. So therefore, I really want to thank this group because it is true that some of us were not concentrating on the issue of some of these elements they were talking about, this inflation, this other one, the liberalization of the foreign exchange. This was their idea, and it helped. And I want really to thank that group and acknowledge their historic contribution. Now, because of that, the economy has expanded from $1.5 billion in 1986 to now $50 billion about. I want this economy to become I want it to grow by 10 times, from 50 billion to 500 billion. And it can do it. Why? Because we already have the raw materials. Coffee, we have gone from 2 million bags to now 9 million bags. Milk from 200, milk is all right, milk has moved well, but more things can be added. Maize, the raw materials are huge. If we add value to all of them, even coffee, if you add value to coffee, you'll find that a kilo of coffee will go from $2 to $50. The same kilo for which you are getting $2, you will get $50. So by adding value to many of these raw materials, the economy can jump from the present level to a high middle income level economy of about $500 billion. So therefore, this is the time to build on what we did with this technocratic group of the Mutevires and the Muhakanizis and Kasami to go to a new level. Now, Muhakanizi was definitely a hard worker because in my struggles, I needed figures. And whenever I needed figures, Muhakanizi would be having all the figures. Now, I didn't know that Muhakanizi was a zealot. You know what we call a zealot? A zealot, somebody who is committed to something very, very deeply. Definitely him and Mutevire and Kasem were zealots of the IMF approach, for sure. There's no doubt about that. I have now come to know it from the wife and the girl, the daughter, about their football and so on, Liverpool. I didn't know that he had that character of, but I could see it. I said, but these young people, why do they only look at the IMF and they don't look beyond the IMF? I could see that they had some ideological issue. But I managed also to persuade them like on the sector of the milk. I think Muhakanizi himself now is active in the milk. Isn't he selling milk in Yantonde there? Na tunda mate Muhakanizi. Abe yatanche kutunda mate. Abakumanya oli omurumu narai. Omurumu no wanagamba yaze. Ali ejo ngambere omurumu no wanagamba ali nkai yazaye oli omurumu no wagambira abana nibamwetoha yagenda. Oh, the boy. This boy, this is Kampala parents. Hello, do you sell milk in Yantonde?
Sorry?
You sell milk in Yantonde. Do you sell milk? I'm asking you.
Yes, we sell both milk and cattle in Yantonde for commercial.
You are selling milk?
Yes.
Thank you so much. So Muhakanizi had joined the commercialization of the dairy products. He had joined.
Sorry?
Muhakanizi had become a commercial dairy farmer.
Yes.
Oh, very good. Congratulations. Thank you. Now, this dairy sector was, because I would have really an intellectual tug of war, strategy tug of war with these people, including Professor Mondo Kagonyera, who was Minister of Veterinary at that time. When I told him that I wanted the traditional Banyankore cattle keepers to become commercial dairy farmers, initially Kagonyera told me, Tabarabasa, that they cannot do it. I said, no, they can do it. It is mobilization. And we mobilized them, and more people joined us, including Muhakanizi, as you can hear the boy confirming. So therefore, the NRM partnership with this technocratic group has been very, very useful to the country, because definitely they added value from that side of the thing they emphasized on. For instance, I'll give you one example. We have been struggling with the labor unions. The labor unions have been trying to bring what they call the minimum wage. Those who are in parliament know that. They come and say, minimum wage. We need minimum wage. The Muhakanizi group and Mutevere group rightly advised me against that minimum wage. Why? Because of the same logic. Things in the economy are determined by the market. You still have excess of labor, of manpower, compared to the jobs. If you artificially overprice the price of labor, you will undermine the growth of the economy. Let the economy grow, let more investors come in, and as they come in, the labor will become if you get more factories, more hotels, more businesses, the labor will become scarce and the price will go up. And I was persuaded by that line, and that's how I have been able to resist the pressure of the labor unions to artificially put up the price of labor, even when you don't have enough jobs to give them. So definitely, their group contributed to our recovery, but we can do more. We can do more if they also listen to our advice of structural changes. Now, Muhakanizi also, I was aware, he was very active locally in Rukungiri. They had a circle called Buyanja something. Very big circle, very, very active. And I was hearing that in Lyantonde, he also had he was doing something. He was telling me about the new factories which are coming up there, the milk factories. So therefore, it's a big loss. I was really surprised. I enjoy my tug of war with these technocrats, including the one called Kagwa, who is still in the ministry, because our ideas are not always the same. But they challenge me. They challenge me to think how to answer them and how to use their positive contribution, but also challenge their limitations. So it's therefore a big loss that they have gone. Kasami died. Mutebe, now Muhakanizi, it's a very big loss. These are really not just employees, but partners of the NRM in the recovery of the economy. Now, but I want to encourage the family. You know, the modern societies are very delicate because of being shielded. They are not used to tough life. But when I saw the children there, these children are old. The Banyankore would say, "Abere yanyetsuze, abere yanyetsuze." Okunyetsa is when your children have grown up. And a child to grow up, according to Banyankore, is to be 16. If you are 16, they say you are a man. Now, when we are 18, 20, the Banyankore will say, if you are not a man now, you'll never be a man. Now, these children are grown up, so their mother is there, their uncles are there. They should be able to continue what Muhakanizi did. I met the grandfather, Mzee Rwakatogoro, and his wife came to see me in Entebbe. Before they died, I was very happy to meet them and talk with them. These are families who contributed to the movement of the Balokore in Uganda, and that family also contributed from that side. I remember there's also another uncle of another son of Rwakatogoro called Triaba Irra. Is Triaba Irra still alive? Triaba Irra, I remember him buying a taxi, 1964, when I was at Kisizi. I saw them, Banyankore those days didn't know about business. But this boy had bought a taxi, he was operating a taxi. So it's a progressive family in the Rukungiri area, the Rwakatogoros. Very good and they're very good, very strong movement supporters. Even the aunties are very good supporters of the movement. So I'm very sorry that Muhakanizi died when he was very useful, but he made his contribution. So it is up to us now, up to you people, to do your own contribution. With these few words, I commend his contribution, and may his soul rest in eternal peace. Thank you so much.
Your Excellency, thank you.